Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hi everyone, welcome to lecture number 37, the second lecture on unemployment. In our last lecture, we discussed about the problem of unemployment. We discussed about different types of unemployment, what are the causes of unemployment, and also we discussed about what are the consequences of unemployment. In this lecture, we will discuss about the job search behavior of the workers. How do they search job in the labor market? We will also discuss about the wage offer distribution. Wage offer distribution is nothing but the frequency distribution of potential job offers, the wage rate. And we will also discuss about the asking wage rate. So, the job offer distribution is the range the worker, they know that if they are going to enter into the labor market, they will get a wage rate between percent X to Y. But what is the asking wage rate? The threshold wage rate that determines if the unemployed worker accepts or rejects this incoming job offers. So, asking wage is nothing but that threshold level beyond which the worker will accept the job offer and below which the worker will reject the job offer. We will discuss about that, how this asking wage rate is determined. And we will discuss about the impact of unemployment insurance on the duration of unemployment spell. We have already discussed that the labor market observes a constant flux between employment, unemployment and out of labor force, and that is why it makes the labor market very dynamic. At any point of time, any given day, you can say many people get, those who are unemployed, they maybe come out of that unemployed group and become out of labor force. Those who are out of labor force, they can enter into the unemployment group. Those who are unemployed, they can enter into the employed group. Those who are employed, anytime they can become unemployed. Those who are employed, also they can become out of labor force with their retirement, and those who are out of labor force, they can anytime enter into the employed group. So, this continuous dynamic flow goes on and it happens at any point of time in the labor market. So, this flow continues at any point of time. So, that is why this makes the labor market more dynamic. Many theories that claims to explain that why unemployment exists and persists in a competitive labor market. There are many theories. Let us begin our discussion of these alternative stories by re-emphasizing that we could observe frictional unemployment even if there were no fundamental imbalance between the supply and demand for workers. There could be some amount of frictional unemployment, because different firms offer different job opportunities, and because the workers are not fully informed about what is there the best job and where the best jobs are located. So, it takes time to find the available opportunities. In fact, any given worker can choose from among many different job offers. One can have so many job offers, he has to choose, because different firms make different job offers to the same worker. So, these wage differentials for the same type of work encourage an unemployed worker to shop around until he or she finds a superior job offer. Now, because it takes time to learn about the opportunities provided by different employers, so the search activities it becomes prolonged and the duration of unemployment spell increases. So, the workers, however, is willing to endure a long term unemployment spell because it might lead to a high paying job. So, in effect, the search unemployment is a form of human capital investment and it depends on the discount rate, at what rate the worker is going to discount. So, as I said, this search unemployment is a form of human capital investment. The worker is reinvesting in the information about the labor market. So, it takes time to learn about the opportunities and the search activities continues until he finds a higher paying jobs or a better job offer. So, how the worker is going to decide that how long his search should continue and where he should stop? To simplify the analysis, let us assume that only unemployed workers conduct these search activities. However, the workers, those who are in job, they also keep on searching for better jobs. So, at this point of time, to make the things easier, we are only considering that the workers, those who are unemployed, they are going for these search activities. So, it is easier to analyze the main implication of this search model if we restrict our attention to these unemployed workers only. So, the wage offer distribution gives the frequency distribution which describes various offers available to a particular unemployed worker in the labor market. Now, when we are saying this job offer distribution, the worker knows that he is going to get a wage rate between x to y, let us say. So, we can explain it in terms of graph. Here on the x axis we have taken wage, on the y axis we have taken the frequency of the wage distribution. Now, worker knows that if he enters to the labor market, he will get the wage rate between 5 to 25. But the probability, he knows that to get a job offer less than 8 and more than 22, the probability is very less. There is a high degree of probability that he will get a job offer between 8 to 22. So, that is why the frequency distribution is like this. If the search activities were free, there is no cost associated, then the worker would keep on knocking from door to door until he finally hits the farm that paid the 25 wage rate. So, the search activities, however, we have seen it is costly, it is not free. Each time the worker applies for a new job, it incurs some transportation costs, certain other type of expenses are there like fees, forms he has to submit. Further, there is also another type of cost, it is the opportunity cost. So, he would have been working at a lower paying jobs, he has left it and he is searching for a new job. So, there is an opportunity cost. So, in this case, the workers' economic trade-off, they are very clear. The longer he searches, the more likely that he will get a high wage rate, high wage offer. The longer he searches, however, the more it costs to find that job. So, there is a trade-off between getting a high wage offer versus the cost associated to get that job. So, the question is that when should the worker should stop searching and settle for the job offer what he is going to get. So, there are two types of approach to answer this question. One is non-sequential search, another one is sequential search. Each approach gives a stopping rule which tells the worker that when he should end his search activities. Let us discuss the non-sequential job search, how the worker they do this non-sequential search in the labor market. The worker could follow a strategy of this non-sequential job search. In this approach, the worker decides before he begins his search that he will randomly visit, let us say 20 firms in the labor market and accept the job offer that pays the highest wage rate, which will not necessarily be the job paying offer let us say $25. So, this search strategy is not optimal. How it is not optimal? Suppose on his first try, the worker just happens to hit the firm that pays $25 an hour. So, a non-sequential search strategy would force the worker to visit another 19 firms, knowing full well that he would never do better. So, it does not make sense therefore that for the worker to commit himself to a predetermined number of searches regardless of what happens while he is searching. So, in that sense it is not optimal. So, a better strategy is one the sequential job search. Before the worker sets for a job search, he decides that which job offer he is willing to accept. For instance, he might decide that he will not willing to work for less than let us say $12 an hour. So, the worker will then visit one of the firm, compare the wage offer to his desired $12 wage. Now, if the wage offer exceeds $12, he will accept the job and stop searching and end the unemployment spell there. Now, if the job offer is less than 12, he will reject the job offer and start searching for another job. He will visit a new firm and compare the new wage offer with his desired wage level. Until he finds his desired wage level, this search operation will go on. So, the sequential strategy implies that if a worker is lucky enough to find a job which is going to give him $25 per hour on his first try, so he will immediately recognize that he is lucky and he will stop the search process. So, this is how one can optimize his job search behavior. However, there is an asking wage. The asking wage is the threshold wage that determines if the unemployed worker accepts or rejects the incoming job offers. There is a clear link between this worker's asking wage rate and the length of the unemployment spell that the worker is going to experience. So, the workers who have low asking wage rate will find acceptable jobs very quickly and unemployment spell will be very short. However, the workers with high asking wage rate will take a long time to find the acceptable job and therefore, the unemployment spell will be very long for them. So, we can summarize that the unemployment spell will last longer as the larger is the asking wage rate. So, when we are saying asking wage is called the reservation wage in many studies. We use the term asking wage to differentiate the threshold that determines whether an unemployed person accepts a job offer from the reservation wage defined in the labor supply model. If you remember, we discussed that what is the reservation wage? Reservation wage is that at what wage rate he enters into the labor market. So, reservation wage determines whether a person enters to the labor market, his decisions to work. The intuition underlying the threshold ways in both the context is same. However, it is the ways that makes the worker indifferent between two alternative actions. In both the cases, so the worker is deciding that whether to work or not to work, accept the job offer or keep on searching the job. So, it is easy to explain how the worker determines his asking wage rate. Let us consider again the wage offer distribution. Suppose the unemployed worker goes out and samples a particular job at random. It could happen by a pure chance that he visits the farm that pays the lowest wage possible, that is $5 per hour. So, the worker has obviously been very unlucky in this search and he knows it. So, he must decide whether to accept this job offer or to reject it by comparing the expected gain from one additional search, means by how much would the wage offer increase. If he is going to have one more search, then how much wage offer is going to increase with the cost of the search. So, when he is going to have one more search, definitely there is some cost associated with that. So, he must decide whether to accept or reject the offer by comparing the expected gain and the expected cost. So, if the offer at hand is only $5 per hour, the gains to searching one more time are very high, because he is already at the lowest point. After all, even if the worker instantly forgets which farm he visited today, the odds of the hitting that the $5 farm again tomorrow are very low. So, an additional search therefore will probably generate wage offer higher than $5 per hour. So, definitely the probability is that he will get a farm, he will find a farm who is going to pay more than $5. So, the marginal gain from one additional search therefore is substantial. Now, consider a situation, the worker visits another farm and this time he gets $10 wage offer. So, this incentive to continue the searching will again depend on partly on the marginal gain from one more search. Given the wage offer distribution, there is still a good chance that the additional search will generate a higher wage offer. So, the marginal gain to this additional search, however, is not as high as when the wage offer at the hand was only $5. So, after all, there is a chance that if he searches one more time, he might hit a farm which is going to give him less than $10 per hour. This could also happen. Let us take another situation. Suppose the worker decides to try his luck one more time and this time he hits the jackpot and getting the wage offer, the $25 per hour. So, at this point the marginal gain from further search becomes 0. So, the worker cannot get a higher wage offer more than $25 per hour. So, if you look at these three situations, it indicates that the marginal gain from each search are lower if the worker has a good wage offer at hand. So, as a result, the marginal revenue curve, that is the marginal gain from one additional search, will be downward sloping. As we have seen, this asking wage is determined not only by the marginal gain from the searching, but also by the marginal cost of the searching. So, every time he goes for additional search, there is a cost associated to that. As we have already discussed, there are two types of search costs. The first is the direct cost, which includes the transportation cost, cost for the preparing the resume, paying the fees. The search activities are also time consuming. Even if the wage offer at hand is $5 per hour wage offer, the worker who rejects this offer and searches again, it incurs a $5 opportunity cost. So, as a result, we can see the marginal cost of searching one more time is higher and higher if the worker has a good wage offer at the hand. So, the marginal cost curve will be upward sloping. So, now the worker is going through a trade off. So, every additional job search is going to decrease the marginal revenue from that job search, and every additional job search is going to have some marginal cost which is going to increase. So, the asking wage rate is determined where this marginal cost equals to the marginal revenue. Now, this can be explained through this graph. Here on the x axis we have taken the wage offer at hand, the value of the wage offers, and on this axis we have taken the wage rate, the cost associated with the additional job search and the revenue associated with the additional job search. So, as you can see, the marginal revenue curve is downward sloping, and once it reaches this 25, the next is going to be 0. So, the marginal revenue curve gives the gain from additional job search. It is downward sloping because better the offer at hand, the less there is to gain from an additional search. Whereas, you can see the marginal cost, the wage distribution curve is, the frequency distribution is from this to this, 5 to 25, the frequency distribution of the wage rate. So, the marginal cost gives the cost of an additional search, and it is upward sloping, because the better the job offers at the hand, the greater the opportunity cost for an additional search. So, the asking wage rate is W hat is the asking wage rate where the marginal cost intersects the marginal revenue at point, let us say it is E. So, any point before this W hat, now let us say at this point when the wage rate is 10, you can see the marginal revenue is higher than this marginal cost. So, which will induce the worker to go for another search and keep on going for searching the job until and unless he finds this marginal cost equals to marginal revenue. If you are taking this wage rate is 20, now we can say that he will not go further any job search, because if he is going to have one more job search, then he will find the cost is higher than the revenue. So, if the worker is lucky enough to get a wage rate which is $20, which is higher than the asking wage rate, he will settle down there. He will not go beyond that point for any search offer. He will not go for any search. So, the determination of asking wage rate depends on the intersection between this marginal cost and the marginal revenue curve. So, the workers asking wage will respond to the change in the benefits and the cost for the search activities. As we have seen, all the human capital investments, the benefits from search are collected in future. So, they depend on the worker's discount rate, at what rate the worker is going to discount his investment in the human capital. So, workers with high discount rate, they are more present oriented, and therefore, they perceive that the future benefits from the search will be low. Therefore, for them the asking wage rate will be low and their marginal revenue curve for the search will be lower. So, workers who have high discount rate have the lower marginal revenue curves and hence in those cases we will have the lower asking wage rate, because these workers do not have the patience to wait until a better offer they are going to get it. So, they accept the lower wage offers and they short the unemployment spell. So, for them the unemployment spell will be shorter. However, a major component of this search cost is the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost comes from rejecting a job offer and continuing the search. So, we have seen this unemployment insurance system, we will discuss it in detail, is nothing but it compensates the workers, those who are unemployed and who are actively engaged in job search activities. Suppose the worker has a wage offer at the hand, let us say $10 per hour or $400 per week. If he qualifies for this unemployment insurance scheme and gets the benefit of $200 per week, the worker is only giving up $200 by rejecting the job offers. So, unemployment benefits therefore reduce the marginal cost of the search. Now, we can see that how this discount rate and the unemployment insurance benefits can affect the asking wage rate. Now, when there is a high discount rate, means the workers are more present oriented. For them, you can see in the graph panel A, initially the marginal revenue was here and the marginal cost is here. Because the workers are having high discount rate, they are more present oriented, the marginal revenue curve will be shift down and as a result you can see the asking wage rate is now W hat 1 where it was W hat 0. Now, because of the high discount rate, the marginal revenue was low and the asking wage rate is now low. When some kind of unemployment insurances are there, you can see in the graph panel B, it reduces the marginal cost. So, as a result, initially the asking wage rate was W hat 0 with MC 0 and MR. Now, because of the implementation of this insurance benefit, unemployment insurance benefit, it has reduced the marginal cost and it has increased the asking wage rate. So, high discount rate reduces the asking wage rate, unemployment insurance benefits increases the asking wage rate of the workers. So, a reduction in the marginal cost of search raises the asking wage rate as we have seen. So, the unemployment insurance system therefore has three important effects on labor market. First, it leads to a longer unemployment spell because the asking wage rate has increased. Second, it increases the unemployment rate. And third, it leads to a higher post unemployment wage rate. So, in summary, you can say that this job search model has two key predictions about the length of unemployment spell. Unemployment spell will last longer when the cost of searching falls, and unemployment spell will last longer when the benefits from this searching rises. So, if you are going to increase the unemployment benefit, then definitely the unemployment spell will be longer. Although the asking wage rate is not observed directly, a number of surveys they have attempted to determine a worker's asking wage rate by asking such questions that what type of work are you looking for and at what wage rate would you willing to take a job. So, these kind of questions can indirectly capture the asking wage rate of the workers. If the workers self reported asking wage rate is strongly correlated with their unemployment experiences, we have seen that. The studies have seen that the workers with self reported asking wage rate is strongly correlated with the workers unemployment experience. So, workers who reported higher asking wages may experience longer unemployment spell. Moreover, higher asking wages leads to high post unemployment wages. Now, the question is that, is this asking wage constant over time? Is this fixed for the workers? It depends on the marginal revenue and marginal cost. Asking wage rate depends on the marginal revenue and the marginal cost of the workers. So, if marginal revenue and the marginal cost of search were constant over time, then the asking wage rate will be constant. Now, you can say it in different words that an unemployed worker would have the same chance of finding a job in the first week of his unemployment spell as in the 30th week of unemployment spell. However, it is unlikely that the probability of escaping unemployment is independent of the length of unemployment spell. After all, we have seen that this search is associated with some cost. So, the unemployed workers, they have limited means with a liquidity constant, which we say at some point of time. So, the worker will no longer have the cash required to keep his search activities going on. So, the liquidity constant forces the worker to recognize that he cannot spend the rest of his life searching for the best job possible, and he will have to settle or less. So, because there is some kind of constant, the worker is trying to maximize his job search with certain constants. Therefore, as the worker, the cash runs out, the asking wage rate falls. The worker will then be willing to accept the job offer that were rejected at the beginning of the unemployment spell. So, this argument suggests that the probability of escaping unemployment rises the longer the worker has been unemployed. The job search behavior, there are several factors that can significantly impact the job search behavior in the labor market for a particular worker. It depends on the economic condition of the economy, the overall state of the economy, the GDP, the growth rate of GDP, the industries, the growth of the industries, and also the availability and hiring practices of the firms. It also depends on educational skills, the level of education training, the skills possessed by the job seekers. It also depends on the experience. Employers often seek candidates with relevant work experiences. It also affected by the networking. The individuals, the personal and professional network plays a significant role in finding a job opportunities. Further, it depends on the geographical location. The availability of jobs can vary depending on the region or the city. Further, the job search is also affected by the industry and the sector which are the drivers of the job. Different industries and the sectors have distinct hiring practices, job market dynamics and skill requirements. Further, technological automation have a significant role on the job search behavior. Certain demographic factors also influence the job search behaviors like age, gender, ethnicity, disability status. Employers' experience and the preference also plays a significant role. Each employer may have specific preference or criteria for hiring. Government policies and regulations also play a significant role in job search behavior. Further, the job search strategies, how the individuals effectively going for these job search activities like resume writing, soft skills, interview skills. Globalization also plays a significant role in job search. The increasing interconnectedness of the global economy can create both challenges as well as opportunities for the job seekers. So, when we talk about this job search behavior, one policy implication is there, the unemployment insurance. Unemployment insurance can have significant impact on the duration of unemployment spell. Let us talk about some of the implications and the impacts of unemployment insurance on unemployment spell of the individuals. First, this unemployment insurance gives the income support to the individuals during his unemployed period. So, unemployment insurance provides financial assistance to the individuals who have lost their jobs and offering a source of income while they search for the new employment. So, this support can help unemployed individuals to meet their financial obligations, reducing the urgency to accept the first available job opportunity that may not be the best fit for them. So, as a result, this unemployment insurance can extend the duration of unemployment spell as the individuals take time to find a suitable employment. Second, it also affects the job search intensity. While unemployment insurance provides financial support, it often comes with a requirement for the recipients to actively engage in job search activities. So, to remain eligible for benefit to get this unemployment insurance, the individuals typically they show some kind of activities that they are seeking for job and they are applying for job, they are attending job interviews and participating in job training programs so that they can get the job as quickly as possible. So, these requirements can incentivize the unemployed individuals to intensify their job search behavior and potentially shorten the duration of unemployment. Further, it can impact their skill matching. Unemployment insurance benefits may allow the unemployed individuals to wait for job opportunities that better match their skills, education, career goals. Just instead of accepting the low paying or temporary jobs out of desperation, recipients may have the flexibility to search the position for which they are better suited in the long term, and also they can get higher wages. While this can lead to longer unemployment spells, it can also result in a better job match in the labor market and it can give a higher job satisfaction in the long run. Further, it can affect the duration of benefit. Unemployment insurance can affect the duration of benefits. The duration and the generosity of this unemployment insurance benefit can influence how long the individuals remain unemployed. If the unemployment insurance benefit is high, then the longer will be the duration. So, longer benefit durations or the high benefit amounts may provide a greater financial security and allow the individuals to take more time to find their job. Whereas, if the benefit is short term and it is low amount, it may create financial pressure for the individuals to find employment as quickly as possible, which will lead to shorten their unemployment spell. Unemployment insurance benefits affect the labor market conditions. So, the impact of this unemployment insurance on the duration of unemployment spell can vary depending on the prevailing labor market conditions. Let us say during the period of high unemployment, when the job opportunities are scarce, the unemployment benefit may prolong the unemployment spell as the individuals they struggle to find a suitable employment. Whereas during the period of low unemployment, when the job opportunities are plentiful, the unemployment benefit may have less of an impact on the duration of unemployment spell. So, overall the impact of unemployment insurance on the duration of unemployment spell is complex and can depend on various factors including the design of the unemployment program, the behavior of the individual recipients and the broader macroeconomic labor market conditions. So, in our next lecture we will discuss about how workers allocate their time over the business cycle considering the intertemporal substitution hypothesis. When we talk about this intertemporal substitution hypothesis, there the workers have an incentive to allocate their time to work activities during those periods of the life cycle when the wages is high and to consume the leisure when the wages is low and the leisure is cheap. So, we will discuss about how the workers they do the trade off their work hour with respect to leisure and participate in the labor market through this intertemporal substitution hypothesis. We will discuss about the sectoral shift hypothesis. At any point of time, some sectors of the economy are growing rapidly and other sectors are declining. So, we will discuss how these sectoral shocks might create structural unemployment in the economy. We will discuss about the efficiency ways and unemployment policy implications of this Phillips curve, the relationship between inflation and unemployment. Thank you.